A capitalist calls a communist evil, and the communist returns the same verdict that the capitalist is evil. Systems throwing stones against systems, while humanity is left starving at the gates of history. Hello, I am Justice John, an educator, photographer, videographer, a digital creator, and an advocate for biblical stewardship. You know, when we talk about economics, there's so much that has to do with the subject that if we're not careful, we will be mixed up and lose what it takes to bring about meeting our needs. Because basically, economics is all about trying to meet the needs of man. And because we want to meet our needs, sometimes there's certain attributes in being ourselves that subdue meeting these needs. Well, you're welcome as we talk about how capitalism and communism and all of the systems and ideas we propounded and created, we are still struggling with them, and they are yet to meet our basic needs. They're yet to solve the problems of humanity when we talk about economics. But the suggestion of biblical economics as the only solution to the problem of economics in the world, and particularly that of Africa and Nigeria. Every idea, philosophy, and concept promises to solve the needs of man. Yet the question is, why do they still fail? Well, because of the desperate nature of evil. Evil is not out there, evil is inside. It is inside the boardrooms, it is inside the revolution we all chase, and sometimes when we get angry we pursue to have. It is inside man, evil. That evil that sometimes shows up its ugly head in our greed, in our self-centeredness, in this evil that we wouldn't care to hurt, we wouldn't care to have. Jesus once said, and he said this even before some of these philosophers and some of these thinkers were able to come up with this idea. Jesus said that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. This is so important because bread can fill our stomach but cannot cure greed. Ideas can build systems but cannot heal our soul. A biblical economy begins not with wealth, but with death. I mean, the death of the flesh. That is the foundation of biblical economics. You know, coming back to our context of being Africans, Africa has community in the songs of our languages. It has community in our dance festivals. It also have community in the breath of our proverbs. Yet our street still lies hungry, our youth wasted, and our land still crying. Because culture without Christ is like a basket with water, beautiful but empty, strong yet leaking. If Africa will rise, it will not rise on the profit of capitalism. If Africa will rise, it will not rise on the equality of communism. If Africa will rise, it can only rise in biblical economy. That point where we all die to ourselves, that we live. That point where the flesh is subdued. That point where it is not all about us anymore, but about a supernatural being. A God that holds us ethically and morally. A God that upholds, a God that because of him we want to uphold righteousness. Africa can only rise when it stands on the truth, and the truth established by the word of God, I mean the Bible itself.